Have you ever asked yourself, should I invest my HSA money? This is a pretty common question that people have. So we are going to address this topic and find out if you really should be investing the money inside of your HSA, your health savings account. All right, let's first quickly talk about what an HSA is. It is a health savings account. This is different from an FSA, a flex spending account. Essentially, an HSA is a tax advantage savings account where you can hold your money to pay for your health expenses. It's available to individuals with a high deductible health plan, and it can be available through your employer, or if you have insurance on your own. If you have a high deductible health plan that is HSA qualified, then you could have your own HSA health savings account. One of the benefits of an HSA is that you can invest that money inside of the stock market. Because you're able to roll over your HSA money every single year, you could have that money invested and not have to worry about pulling it out every single year. And if you want more details about a health savings account, I do have another video going over more details of an HSA, but today we are going to talk about investing that money and if you should or reasons that you shouldn't. All right, the first reason why you may want to invest HSA money is because you have the potential to get higher returns on your money. If you are just keeping your money inside of a health savings account, it's probably earning you no interest or very little interest. But if you take that money that you have inside of your HSA and you invest it in the stock market, you have that potential to earn a higher return on your money. I personally have an HSA, a health savings account. I used to be using Lively for my HSA. I have recently switched over to Fidelity because they do not have any fees associated with their health savings accounts. Lively recently decided to start charging a fee every single year. I think it's $24, unless you decide to keep $3,000 of your health savings account money just sitting in cash instead of investing that money. I personally like to have all of my HSA money invested because I don't plan on using that anytime soon. Because of that, I've chosen to switch over to Fidelity. But since I have been using Lively for years, they have been a great account to have. And they do have some really great benefits. So if you do plan on keeping some of your money, at least $3,000 worth of your HSA money, just in cash, then it could be worth it to have a Lively account. Otherwise, after you finish watching this video, if you decide you want to invest all of your HSA money, you may want to set up a Fidelity account and have it be completely free. The money that I have put into my health savings account, I have received higher returns because I've chosen to invest that money in the stock market. The maximum that you can deposit into a health savings account for singles is $3,850 as of 2023, and it's $7,750 for families. So if you decide to put that money into an HSA every single year, you could be making a lot more if you decide to invest it. Reason number 2 to invest your HSA money is because of the tax advantages that you will receive. When you put money into your HSA, it goes in tax-free. You're not paying any taxes on that money. And then it also grows tax-free inside of your HSA if you decide to invest that money. And then you can withdraw that money tax-free to pay for any medical expenses. This can really add up to a significant amount depending on how much you are paying in taxes. Especially if you are in a higher tax bracket, you will be able to save quite a bit of money if you decide to invest that money and let it grow tax-free over time, and then pull it out tax-free when you put it toward medical expenses. And then reason number 3 on why you could invest your HSA money is because it provides a long-term savings for your health expenses or your medical expenses. I feel like it is nice to be able to build up this money and invest it and have it grow exponentially over time. And then later on, when I'm probably going to have more healthcare expenses than I do right now, I'm able to withdraw that money tax-free, and I put it in tax-free to pay for my medical expenses. For me personally, I spend very little on my healthcare expenses, so it makes sense for me to invest all of my money, and the medical expenses that I do have, I can just pay for those out of pocket right now. I can still pay for my own medical expenses, but If they are pretty expensive and I don't want to be paying for them with the cash that I have on hand, I can definitely get reimbursed from my health savings account. Not only that, any medical expenses that I do have currently, I'm saving all of those receipts and I'm inputting those expenses into my HSA so that I can get reimbursed for all of those expenses later on. That means my money can just stay in my health savings account invested inside of the stock market, and I can build that wealth, I can build up that savings account over time and then withdraw it later. Reason number 4 on why you may want to invest your HSA money is because of the flexibility and portability. Like I mentioned before, we don't have to be withdrawing the funds from our HSA every single year. We can just let them roll over every single year and let that continue to grow over time. That could be for 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. There's no limit on when we have to pull out that HSA money. And it's nice because if you have a family HSA, you can just leave that money in there and take money out of your pocket right now. And then as you go along, if you have a really high expense later on, then you'll have that flexibility of using your HSA. Or if you just want to simply be reimbursed for the items you've been paying for out of pocket, you can have that flexibility as well. And if you do have your HSA with your current employer and you end up quitting that job and the next employer doesn't offer an HSA, you still have that money in your HSA. You can keep that, your employer doesn't keep that, and it can continue to grow over time. And even if you switch over to another employer that does offer an HSA, then you can take those funds that you have in your current HSA and switch those over to your new HSA with your new employer and continue to add to that account. And when you are switching it over, it doesn't mean that you have to pull that money out of the stock market. You can keep that money invested in the stock market and just switch your HSA account over to your new employer's provider for the HSA, but you don't need to take that money out of the stock market in order to switch it over to the new HSA. Reason number 5 on should you invest your HSA money is because of retirement planning. An HSA can be a great retirement vehicle. It can serve as a supplemental account to your current retirement accounts. Since it is put in tax-free and growing tax-free, and then when you pull it out, you can pull it out tax-free to pay for medical expenses. That is going to be really beneficial if you are in your retirement years and you have some high medical expenses. And even if you don't have high medical expenses during your retirement years, you can still get reimbursed for anything that you paid for out of pocket. It's nice to know that you have that extra money in your HSA during your retirement years. And going along with the retirement planning, you want to make sure that you understand your investment options inside of your HSA. If your HSA is with your employer, sometimes they will limit what you can invest in inside of the stock market in your HSA. You'll want to make sure that you are choosing funds that are going along with your financial goals. You'll also want to consider the expenses that go along with those funds and choose something that is going to be a really low expense for you, especially if you are going to invest that money inside of that fund for the long term. We want to be paying as little in fees as possible. That way we can keep as much of our own money as possible. And if you aren't too sure about how to invest in the stock market, which funds to choose, what expenses are low, which expenses to look out for, I have a free masterclass that talks about how to invest in the stock market. I will leave a link below in the description. You can click on that and watch the free masterclass. Also, you want to consider your time horizon. If you are already close to retirement age and you already have high healthcare expenses, then investing your money in the HSA may not be the best idea for you. You may need that money to pay for your medical expenses right now. So that may be one reason why you wouldn't want to invest your money inside of your HSA. Or even if you aren't close to retirement but have high medical expenses that you aren't able to pay for out of pocket, then you may need that HSA money to pay for your medical expenses. And you'll want to make sure that you don't go over your contribution limits for your HSA. If you accidentally contribute extra to your HSA, and you have that money invested in the stock market, and then you realize that you put too much in there, you'll have to sell those investments and take money out. And if you happen to start at a job maybe halfway through the year in July, and they offer an HSA, then you can only contribute half of that amount to your HSA. So just be careful that you are contributing the correct amount. And if your employer decides to contribute money to your HSA, then you can still not go over that $3,850 if you're single. You'll want to know exactly how much your employer is planning on putting in. If they are not maxing it out for you, then you can put in the remaining amount to your HSA so you make sure it is maxed out, but not going over the limit. If you do decide to invest HSA money, just make sure that you are able to pay out of pocket for any medical expenses that you have, and then you can leave your HSA money invested over the long term and take advantage of that tax break you are getting up front when you put that money in, because it goes in tax-free, and then you can let it grow tax-free over time, and then you can take it out without paying taxes as long as it is for medical expenses. And then another side note, when you do hit that retirement age, you are able to take that money out of your HSA and pay taxes on it, but you can use it for anything you want. It doesn't need to be for medical expenses. So that is another benefit of investing your HSA money. If you want to use it for other expenses, just realize you will pay taxes when you pull that money out. But if you're using it for medical expenses, then that's awesome, no taxes. Hopefully you found this video helpful, and if you did, please hit that like button and share it with someone else who would like to hear this information, and hit the subscribe button to subscribe to my YouTube channel, and hit the little bell to get notified on when I post new videos. And if you want to see even more awesome videos from me, make sure and check out the videos on the side of the screen. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.